Those are some of the questions being asked, and CORD says it will push on with the move to have IEBC commissioners removed from office. Today we had President Kenyatta saying he'll have none of that. The law should be followed. I'll read two SMSs here. Mwalimu Osero Jr. says, I'm asking Wetangula, Halwale, what's the right procedure? Shouldn't we follow the constitution instead of rioting? Let's not dissuade Kenyans. And then James Ogutu in Migori says, Hussein CORD is right in forcefully removing IEBC. All the critical achievements, including the repeal of Section 2 of the Constitution, were made through such struggles. Keep talking to us on 24242 on Twitter using the hashtag The Big Question. Thank you, gentlemen, for making time for the big question tonight. I'll start with you, Dr. Halwale. We saw you yesterday. I mean, video images clearly showed you and others trying to dismantle the gate at the anniversary towers. Would you still say that was a peaceful demonstration?
Yes, indeed, it was peaceful. The only clarification I would like to make is that the people who rioted yesterday were the police.
You trying to dismantle the gate, and that is why, and we actually show you, we show your images, your images are very visible there. That is why we saw the police, you know, reacting. Are you still saying, all that was peaceful?
We were trying to make a peaceful entry through the gate, but the person at the gate refused to open a gate. A gate is supposed to be opened and closed. Now, because there were customers wanting to go in who had given earlier notice, we should not have been stopped from entering. So, as we continued persuading the gatekeeper to open the gate for us, the police started rioting, and Kenyans saw it. We didn't have rungus, we didn't have tear gas. They owe us an apology, for real.
Thank you very much, Hussein. First of all, I think I like to pass my condolences to the Kibaki family for the loss of Mama Lucy. And I just want to go straight to the point. What we witnessed yesterday is very unfortunate in what CORD was doing, and particularly because I think there is King Solomon said in Ecclesiastes that there is time for everything. There is time for storming, there is time for protests, there is time for also implementation of constitution. I think it's unfortunate because really, first of all, it's a fallacy. When you say you want to eject commissioners from office, I think they have either misunderstanding of English or I don't know what it means, because if you eject Commissioner Letangule from here right now and remove him from this office, he will still be the commissioner of IEBC. Isaac Hassan, even when he's sleeping, he is the commissioner of IEBC. When the constitution says removal from office, it means removal by virtue of law. It's not removal physically. And what's unfortunate is because we had a very unfortunate events of 2007-2008 that led to Kriegler Commission and the Waki Commission. The Kriegler Commission identified certain salient issues that were affecting our electoral process, one of which was the absence of rule of law. And they said we must put in place constitutional and legislative frameworks that must provide mechanisms for guaranteeing the security of tenure of commissioners. And security of tenure, Kriegler Commission actually corrected and said security of tenure is not to make a commissioner permanent. So either way, it's to make removal of that commissioner predictable through a judicially acceptable process. Okay. So what we saw yesterday is not what our children would expect. This behavior of storming offices, removing railway, removing gates. Tomorrow in the
what happened yesterday was a demonstration at Anniversary Towers. Yeah. So just let's leave it at that.
Yeah, but the
demonstration at Anniversary.
It's anarchy. It's anarchical.
Right.
Yeah, and because it's not acceptable.
I would like I'd like Halwale first to respond to that, because it's a question that has also been raised in terms of why shouldn't you just follow what the law says.
I am so happy that today, as I speak here, that we operated within the tenets of the Constitution. Not just yesterday, but it has been a process to this extent that we pursued Article 257 that gave us an option of how we would remove IEBC, and collected 1 million signatures, which Letangule and his friends pretended that there was something wrong with them. So when we failed 257, we remembered that we had spent a whole 1 year, Hussein, trying to persuade our brothers in Jubilee that come, let us talk. So when we remained with two options under the Constitution, i.e., you either go through Parliament so as to cause the President to create a tribunal, we found that because of the current kind of National Assembly, which is simply a department in the office of the President, we were not going to go very far.
Why?
So we decided therefore to go as a notch higher, and the highest notch you can go under the Constitution
what you're saying is
Article 1, which provides that the sovereign power of the Republic lies in the hands of the people.
What you're saying is that you didn't have any confidence going through the National Assembly that you will go through with this and succeed?
Precisely.
Why? Because Jubilee has more numbers?
No, not more numbers. We can always have more numbers as we have remained in the history of this country, but it is the persuasion of an individual member of Parliament during the time of voting in Parliament. So that persuasion is not there. So we chose, Hussein, this is very important, because our colleagues in Jubilee want to give the impression that we were operating outside the Constitution.
Absolutely.
So we chose to operate within Article 1, which is the biggest article in the Constitution of Kenya.
Let's have Letangule respond. You'll come to that, yeah.
No, for us at IEBC, Hussein, we are really seeing these developments in another way. First, we feel that as IEBC we are a soft target in a wider political game. The timing of protests against IEBC is itself suspect. Why now? We did the election in 2013. What is the timing now? Why is the complaint about the 2013 election arising now? That's the question. Because, Hussein, we did an election in 2013 by the same commission. These two members who are here, the Senator and Honorable Kipchumba, are in Parliament by virtue of the election that I conducted. Now, you cannot say that you, Dr. Khalwale, is a senator, yet at the same time questioning the credibility of the same election that you are in office. You can't. I mean, the irony of that is what we are questioning. So we feel that you have taken us as a softer target, a target who has no protection, or like a child without a father and mother, and that we are just being targeted in a wider political game. We don't know. We did successfully that election. It was affirmed by the Supreme Court. And you ask yourself, what is the role of the IEBC? We reflect the will of the people of Kenya when they vote. We don't have the power to give anybody any elective post. We don't. And therefore we only affirm what the people say. So if you want a commission which will not speak the truth, then disband this one.
Can I respond?
Commissioner, I know you are saying these things because you are trying to persuade us, but the truth is your days are numbered. There are very few remaining, and the reason why this is the case is because when you announced the presidential result in 2013, you lost your independence. And because the institutions to which the people have delegated their authority, including
Dr.
the judiciary.
Dr. Khalwale, you went, the Code Coalition, the Code Coalition went to court after that. The Supreme Court made a decision. The Code Coalition agreed with that decision and went by that decision. What he's asking now, and it's a question that has been asked, is the timing. 3 years or something later. Why now? The question he's asking is, what is the problem with IEBC really?
At that time, because the leadership of the opposition at that time thought Kenya was greater than any one of them, they said, let us move on. And they expected that since you had given what the current executive wanted, you would then learn. But going by how you treated us with the Okoa Kenya signatures,
so that is
Hussein, and how you conducted the election in Kericho, we realized that if we allow you any more day, then
so those are the two issues you really have a problem with.
Yes, we are going to mess the country.
Can I come to
I just want to talk about the Okoa Kenya.
Before the commissioner can raise his issues, there are a number of lies that have been peddled for a long time. One is Article 1 of the Constitution, and it's good to be honest to the Constitution. The Constitution says the sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya and shall be exercised only in accordance with this constitution.
Yes.
There is no single article of this constitution that says there is a philosophy or a mechanism of ejecting someone physically from office. In any case, this constitution says that if you want to remove any commissioner, you don't go to Article 257. It's not by changing the constitution. Kalwale is lying. It's not by changing the constitution. It's by actually providing a petition to Parliament, or in an alternative, if one has can go to court to declare an individual commissioner to be unfit to hold office. You know, saying this story about commissioners being unfit to hold office has been a blanket argument. Nobody can identify, because some of the things that are being talked about are criminal in nature. Crime is not a collective enterprise. There must be everybody carrying his own individual responsibility. Nobody has told us Commissioner Letangule was involved in this one, so and so was involved in this one, and therefore they are unfit to hold office. Okay, second, and most important, court has announced that they don't like IEBC, they don't like now Supreme Court, they don't like Central Bank, they don't like Parliament. So even in their statement today, it is like, we will storm IEBC, after that we will go storm the Supreme Court, after that we will go storm the Central Bank, after that we'll come and storm Parliament. Honestly, if this kind of jurisprudence that's being developed and peddled using lies cannot continue making our country to be what we wanted to do.
You see, you're saying IEBC, as currently constituted, underwent a process which was impartial. All of us, the commissioners in IEBC, are non-political. We do not belong to any political party. We were appointed on that basis through a competitive process. And that's why we are impartial in our decisions. And now talking about OCOA, for example,
yes,
we looked at the booklets as submitted, and we found out that a majority of the names submitted were duplicates. So on that basis alone, we rejected, because the law under Article 157(4) tells us you shall verify.
Okay.
And that's exactly what we did. Let me finish.
Yeah.
And because of that, we could not even move to the next level. So for us, we stand firm with our decision. You cannot tell me, Dr. Khalwale, that when we make the Wetangula decision and it's good to you, now we are good people, we are respected, we are happy, we make a good decision, Wetangula say this, and when we reject the signatures based on our own understanding, now we are bad.
But Commissioner, yesterday first when this was happening, you were in your offices?
Yes.
You're witnessing all this?
All of us were there.
Did this worry you in any way as a commission?
No, it didn't, because to us, storming now was not our function.
Okay.
It became a security matter.
Okay. Are you, and is IEBC concerned about its credibility? It's not only CORD speaking now. We've seen the pollsters recently talking about how IEBC is not really being trusted.
No.
We've seen the Catholic Church, the National Council of Churches of Kenya, Law Society of Kenya. Yes. Everybody's talking about credibility of IEBC. It's not really about CORD only. Most of these institutions have said, I'm talking about credibility of IEBC. So did that worry you?
Well,
IEBC?
You see, credibility is started by, when a narrative is started by a certain group of people, and they paint you in a certain light, and you speak up by some other groups. By the way, I've seen the churches respond. The church that I saw, that memo of theirs, was long. IEBC was just one of the issues. In fact, in their memo, they said reconstitute the Supreme Court.
Right, but the IEBC was still an issue.
It was still an issue.
Okay.
But what we are saying is that really election, we need a lot of support. Because election is not IEBC alone.
Fine, but now as it is,
yes,
with people talking about your credibility, these institutions, plus CORD, doesn't that worry you as IEBC? Would you want to go on to the next election with all these institutions talking about your credibility?
You see, whenever credibility issues arises in an institution like ours, of course it worries us. And that's why we reach out. And that's why we've gone out of our way to say, look, what are you exactly addressing us on? We're asking that because it's a valid question.
Right.
You cannot just blanketly accuse us for nothing.
You've seen all those institutions talking about credibility of IEBC and the pollsters and the CORD coalition. Yeah. Is Jubilee, as it is right now, comfortable with IEBC and how it's constituted going to the next election?
You know, the Constitution says that they must exercise their functions independently without being put under pressure by anybody. Our concern really, what concerns us most is that IEBC now is under immense pressure, political pressure from a coalition that perhaps its political fortunes is dwindling. And for us, that is a concern, because if they are going to submit to that pressure, then their independence will go to zero. And there will be no other commission in future that will stand that pressure. It will mean that anybody who is aggrieved, by the way, will say, let's go to the facts. If Raila Odinga was the president today, he won 2013, or if the Okoa signatures were approved, even if they were duplicates, they would not have raised the issues they have raised. So in any case, there will be always a loser in an elections or on an issue of referendum or anything. If we are going to be establishing institutions going forward, so as for us, what concerns us most as a coalition is the independence of that institution, the pressure being put in that institution.
So these are the institutions, the churches and the Law Society of Kenya that are talking also about credibility of IEBC. Does not worry you as Jubilee?
It doesn't worry
going forward to the next election.
It doesn't worry me, because it only remains a political soundbite if those people, if those churches are serious. For me, let me just say this: if the churches are serious, because you know we also come from churches, if the churches are serious, if the Law Society of Kenya, where I'm a member, are serious, they should take the next step, bring a petition to Parliament, go to court and make a declaration that so and so is not unfit. Then we will be able to test our constitutional processes, and we will be able to be building our institutions as a country.
And not just that to say,
you know, as you answer that with this as well, because one of the other claims by the Court Coalition is that the IEBC has not really been open to engage those stakeholders on a thorough audit of the mistakes that happened in the 2013 election. Do you think that is a problem? And also, Murkomen, I'd like to hear.
Yeah, I agree. You know, when stakeholders raise issues of credibility, it must be backed with some tangible evidences and facts. It's not a blanket word to just say IEBC has credibility issues, and you are not telling us what have we done. So now, listen, after the election of 2013, we've gone through a long process of auditing our systems, and we have shared this with our stakeholders, the political parties, the media, and all those stakeholders, civil society. Now, going forward, we have already released the election operation plan. In fact, we think our problems have started from there. Because the moment we declare that elections is coming on the 8th of August 2017, and we release the election operation plan, which details day-to-day operations of the Commission up to the election date, then we think that we have set in motion an unstoppable role to the election.
Let me have Falole.
My brother, you know, there is a parallel. Unless it is impunity that is causing you to say what you're saying, the parallel is as follows: that the Prime Minister of Iceland, upon being reminded that he had offshore accounts, he resigned. And you, in a similar way, because of the Jikenket that has taken place in England, where some of you are involved through actual evidence, emails, you have refused to resign. Look, listen to me. Listen to me, Lirangule. With all due respect, you are not Kenya, but you are children of Kenya. So if one child of Kenya has had give way.
Let him respond.
Yes, you have been in this parliament for longer.
Yes.
You know very well that the issue of chicken gate arose long before IEBC were even formed. You know that.
In the email, the name of the chair of IEBC is mentioned. So it's Oswago. So why, if the rest of you are clean, you see, why can't we have the chairman alone be the one tendering?
You see, there is always the law of innocent. That somebody must be presumed innocent. And other institutions are handling this matter, the anti-corruption.
But the people you want to allow to
we're looking at the way forward now. Code specifically wants representatives of political parties in an electoral body. That is what you want. Do you think that can work, and what is the way forward as you want?
For us, Hussein, for us, we are willing to work with IEBC to assist them where they need our support. By the way, Curricular Commission identified that the key ingredient to election problems in the country is the lack of democracy within political parties themselves, and that in the manner in which political parties are conducting themselves resonates with how the impact that it has ultimately in what IEBC will do. So for us within Jubilee, we want to put our institutions, our party structures well. We want to have credible nominations that will resonate with the country. And by the way, And another recommendation of Curricular Commission, they say that there must be commissioners must be in place 2 years before elections. We are already short of 2 years.
So my question was the proposal by court, is it something you can work with, or it can't work for you?
That we need what?
That the court is now saying they need representatives of political parties in the Electoral Commission. So
it's
that
not in the Constitution.
So you're not willing to have a discussion around that?
We are not willing to discuss anything unconstitutional.
Can I talk about that in the context of, because I'm an expert now as being in the election body.
Yes.
By the way, the moment you introduce a representative of political parties as commissioners of IEBC, then you will cause a lot of problem to that commission.
But you
I'll give you an example. In Zanzibar, the election was cancelled because the commissioners were representative of political parties and they cannot agree. And that's why they had problems. You do that in Kenya, you bring a lot of problems. And I can say this for free.
No, well, I think maybe your memory might be failing you. In 1997, we came up with such a compromise. So we want this compromise to save Kenya. To this extent, every political party, including Jubilee, which is very friendly to you, will have representation. But we are reserving the position of leadership to either the civil society or the religious community.
So what do you think?
What is the problem?
What do you think? Thank you so much for your time, gentlemen. Senator Dr. Boni Khalwale, Kipchumba Murkomen, and IEBC Commissioner Thomas Letangule. Of course, this is a discussion that will continue. Keep talking to us on #242 on Twitter using the hashtag. The big question will be back after this short break.